Hello world, Siyavuya, Gqumehlo, and welcome to my channel. Apakle channel, I discuss health and wellness. Now, I would love to be in a place where I see the world more objectively than subjectively, because we are programmed to actually look at life subjectively, which is very limiting because it's just based on our perspective, right? And I would love to look at the world more factually and truthfully, more than I listen to opinions or just lead with my opinions, because opinions are things that are made up that I don't really have proof of, right? They can be taken out of facts, but opinions are not facts, right? So this channel will focus really, or I pride myself really on being objective and being factual. Not to say I wouldn't say what my opinion is about something or what I think about something, or I wouldn't be subject to something when I speak about it or speak from a subjective point of view. We focus on the psyche, and that's what we're all about. So today we're talking about healing, right? Now, the world is a dangerous place. It is so dangerous that it's becoming more dangerous each and every day. Like, to the point where now we have divided ourselves even smaller into tribes. Now, we've always lived according to tribes, right? Where, it's people from a different nationality, which is a big form of tribalism, right? Or whether it's tribes within the nation. Different people who calls themselves a different name, living according to different ideologies. The Zulus, the Xhosas, the Tswanas, you name it, right? It's like watching an American movie where there's just so many cliques. It's just so many cliques. You have the brainiacs, you have the jocks, you have the nerds, you have the cheerleaders, you name them, right? And because of that, we have divided ourselves, and because we don't see life the same way, because we're depending on our subjective point of view to say what the world is for ourselves, because we're not looking at it together. Now there's the gay community, lesbian community, the trans community, and because of that, because they feel unsafe, so they form their own community to feel safe, because we live based on ideologies, theories, and things that are made out in our minds, and not things that are actually the actual life, right? Now, ideologies are not the actualities of life. It's things that are made up in our heads. Now, because of that, we have hurt each other so much, even through religion, how it has divided humanity, and how religion actually has caused so many wars and made so many millions of people to fight against one another, to kill each other in the name of God, right? This is no offense to anybody. I'm just describing of how dangerous tribalism is. Now, when you're talking about healing, right? Now, hurt can come from anywhere. It can come from your family, it can come from your friendships, it can come from work, it can come from a romantic relationship. Hurt can come anyway. Now, I'm not talking about the physical sense of hurt, because that's easy to deal with. If I broke my arm, which I did when I was before the age of 10. Yes, before the age of 10, I broke my arm, and I went to, I think that was Fair Hospital in Mount East, where it was almost fixed. Like, they fixed it 2 times, I think, and they couldn't quite get it straight, but my grandmother refused for them to fix it for the 3rd time, because she was afraid that I was going to lose my arm. But the point of the story is that when it comes to physical injury, we can deal with that. We know we're not walking around with limbs. We go to the clinic until we wear a cast until we can walk. But when it comes to psychological trauma, psychological injury, people tend to have difficulty dealing with that. Now, they can cope. They can cope using romantic relationships. They can cope using alcohol, drugs. Now, alcohol is a form of a drug, right? And they can cope with other things, like distract themselves maybe with work, distract themselves with certain activities also. Now, because of that, now the wound is not being dealt with, and you can be easily triggered like that, because you have not dealt with that pain. It has not healed, which is very abnormal, because if I was walking with my broken arm since the age of I don't know whether I was 6. I don't remember how old I was until today. People will look at that like that's abnormal. You're gonna get an infection. You might actually even lose your whole arm. It might affect my organs. Like a whole terrible thing may happen to me, and people will be looking at me like that is an unintelligent thing to do. But that's what we do with our psychological issues, and that's where the problem is, right? So, and because people don't know how to deal with pain, they're using this coping mechanism to actually survive through or to go through life, which makes it difficult for one to love because you are in your suffering state. When you are suffering, you become codependent, right? You want to fix for someone else. Now, this is what I've done with my PTSD, which is post stress. This is post stress. What PTSD? Anyways, so what I did, I went to YouTube, the University of YouTube, and what I did was I went down the rabbit hole, if I can call it a rabbit hole, of finding people that have dealt with things that I am suffering with, right? Where I have dealt with people that, they know how to establish boundaries, they know how to be vulnerable, how to stand up for themselves. And I have read books, self-help books on boundaries. You can look that up. On how to life coaches on how to deal with stress, how to meditate. I've read all those books. Not all of them were good, not all of them ended up working in the end, but at least it's like trying different medication and see which one works for you, right? I can say that where I was years ago, from like maybe 4 years ago or 5 years ago to where I am now, I'm a lot more healed, and I'm a lot more self-sufficient and independent emotionally because I've been through a lot. But I'm not talking about my personal stories per se. Now, after I would look at these self-help books, I would make notes, I would try and practice what is actually written in them and try to find a solution, right? I would watch my emotions. Now, what do you mean by watching your emotions? It means like you don't control your emotions or how you feel. You allow yourself to feel whatever you feel, whatever that feeling is, whether it's a feeling of anger, a feeling of jealousy. And when you watch it, and when you watch your emotion, you don't get to be emotionally constipated, right? Where your emotions are stuck and you don't know what to do with them. You feel them out and then you look at them. And when you look at them, then you get to know actually what is going on. You get to look at yourself objectively instead of being subject to your emotions. Because when you're subject to it, they have more power over you. But when you're looking at them objectively, it's easy to deal with them and to study yourself and to know yourself better. So watching your emotions is a really, really, really good tool. I love that. And another thing that I have found this year is to have friendship standards, right? Now, I didn't really think having friendship standards was a thing or an important thing to do. I just thought that having standards for men was the thing to do because of how men will use women and how they will expose women, exploit women and all that. I didn't really understand like the importance of having friendship standards until I moved to Gauteng, where I've dealt with some rubbish people. And I was dealing with this girl where I'm a hair braider. So I was dealing with this girl who wanted to use me for my money. She was like, you can live in my house rent free. And I was like, really? Yes. She was like, yeah, you don't have to pay rent, I just need company. The place, it was jaded. The floor had holes in it. There were like big rats that were eating up the furniture, like really like huge rats. And there was no electricity, and she wanted me to fix all that, and she was constantly borrowing money from me. But she was saying that, oh no, I want you to live for free. That's not living for free. If you're constantly asking me for money for food, and also you want me to fix your home, and I hardly know you. I was like, and I allowed her until she took my money. She borrowed money from me, and when I asked for it, she sent me through cash send, ne? Yeah, that Capitec as app that you send money to. But I don't use Capitec, so I don't really know how it works. But she sent me money only to actually take that money and pretend that like I took the money, and I didn't take the money. And that's how she stole the money from me. And after that, I just ghosted her, and I just blocked her because she was untruthful. And because of those experiences, I realized, actually, why am I so trustworthy to women that I actually don't even know? And how important it is to actually vet women, not just men. Vet women, vet men, but also friendship standards will protect you from being used. They will protect you from people that actually will be leeches, but also people that want to abuse you. And because of that, I think I've been able to protect my energy, protect my mind, protect my peace, my finances. I tell you, in Gauteng, it's a hustling province. Everybody out here is from different places, and they are out here to hustle, and they will hustle you too, coming from men, children, and women. And having friendship standards, actually, I learned this from Temco. She has a channel also, um, and she talks about this type of topics like self-love, and I love her channel. So I learned that from her. Having friendship standards is actually a key to actually protecting yourself from harm's way, and that can be a part of your healing journey, so that you don't go back to your traumas, your PTSD, and all that. But for me, thank you.